Guys, we are back in Free Code Camp. We're working on our web developer certificate. We got to get through basic JavaScript here, object-oriented functional programming, and then basic algorithms scripting. This is really kind of cool. 50 hours of stuff here, so we're doing actually full projects. I'm very excited about it, and this is stuff that you're actually going to use. Like you're going to need to know how to reverse a string, obviously. But anyhow, so let's get started with our basic JavaScript. Comment your JavaScript code. So I've taken some JavaScript and let's see, this is a single line comment. And one second, the way I'm kind of doing this is I'm kind of giving myself a timer. So let's give ourselves a timer for this. I suggest you do the same thing if you're trying to work on something every day. So just go ahead and throw, like I'm doing 30 minutes right now. So in 30 minutes, what can I get done? So we got our first comment. Now let's do a multi-line comment. And oops, slash star, star slash. And reminder, this is a 3-hour course. Usually we're doing things about a third of the time. So multi dash line comment, period. So maybe we'll go a little bit quicker, maybe we'll go a little bit slower, but I imagine this will take us about an hour. So welcome booleans. So welcome booleans should return true. So change that to true. Cool. It now returns true. Not too shabby. My name should bring a string that contains at least one character in it. Alright. So we'll say var my name equals Dylan. Run that. Oh, make sure that's the correct tense. So we're using camel case. Not too bad. Alright, what else are we working on here? My first name should be... Oh, I forgot I moved the... Oops! I forgot I moved my my webcam for a certain video I was making. And it looks like this light's shining quite brightly, so let's go ahead and we'll go night vision mode on this. It's not too bad. My first name should be a string with at least one character in it, and we'll say var my first name, and JavaScript knows this is a string just by how we're using our quotes here. And we'll do my first name is Dylan, and my var my last name we'll set it equal to Israel. And also Alan Turing, kind of the father of computer science, very good movie. One second, we're going to turn off Flux real quick. Very good movie if you're interested in the Turing machine, I believe is what it was called. And very good, very interesting. So should be equal to 8. So we're going to say var last name. So we want to just set this equal to 8. And so we set that equal to an integer. And you should be getting the length of last name. You should be getting the length of last name by using .length. So so this is what we want to do. Last name dot length. Just dot length? Okay, just dot length. So cool enough. Cool. So the first letter of last name should be L. The first letter of last name should equal to last name dot. So we want to get our 0 index. So in this case, first letter of last name, first name 0 is ADA. So it's going to give us 0 or L rather for first letter last name. First letter Lovelace. There you go. Alright, so third letter of last name. So again, we're just going to go to our last name. The third letter would be the second index spot. Very cool. So Lovelace. Last letter of last name should be an E. Last letter of last name should be an E. So our last name. So I guess they want us to get the E. Oh, or the last E rather. So we have an 8-letter word, so that would be the 7th index spot. And last letter. You should have to use .length to get the last letter. Okay, so another way we can do this is we can call .length minus 1, because the length is always going to be 1 greater because we start at 1. Huh. What are we doing wrong here? Not here. Let's see if they want us to bracket this up like in the example. There we go. So apparently we have to call that, and then I thought we were just checking the length. My mistake. So what I actually made a mistake on is when we do the last name dot length, what's actually getting returned here when we minus 1 is 7. So what we want is to take the string last name, and for the spot that's last name dot length, this is a number, remember, not a string. Minus 1, get that index spot. So that's what's going on there. Alright, so second to last name should be C. Alright, and they want us to use .length. So again, we're taking the string last name, we're finding the length of it. So it's going to be last name .length, and then we want to minus how many? We want to minus 2 to give us our goal there. So not too shabby. Mark the variable sum equal to 20, so there's just that. Just change the value there. Subtract one number from another JavaScript, and we want to equal to 12, so 45 minus 12 is 33, so 45 minus 33 is 12. Cool, or plus 33 is 12. So let's see here, make the product equal to 80, so we're just going to times that by 10. It's just an asterisk. This should all be pretty familiar if you've done any sort of coding. So make the quotient equal to 2. So 66 divided by 33 is 2. Not bad. My decimal should be a decimal point number. Let's create a variable my decimal. And we'll say my, so we'll say var my decimal is equal to, we'll just say our decimal. And of course make sure you spell stuff correctly. Cool. All we did there was create a decimal, and we just set it to the one they already had. So we want to make the product equal to 5.0, so 2.0 times, and the reason they're doing it with just not 2 times 2 anything, 2.0, is we want it to get a floating point. So that's why we're doing 2 times 2.5 instead of doing like 5 times 1. Alright, so make the quotient equal to 2.2. So 4 times 2 is 4. So I believe 4.4 will come back to 2.2. Cool. So we're just dividing with different types of data. So floating points and integers and everything else. So we want the first item in my... So we're working with arrays now. So what arrays are is they take in groups of data and store it in a variable. So we want the first one to be a string. So let's do pizza poker guy 87. And we'll put a comma in between here. And we want the second one to be a number. Notice how we don't use quotations because we need this to know that this is an integer. And when we run it, we're good to go. So my array should have at least one array nested within another array. So we want So they have an array, var r array, and in this case, you can have an array within an array. Once you get past doing more than 2 of these, it gets a little complicated. So in this case, we're just going to substitute our array into my array, and now it's going to inherit from that. So the variable my data should be equal to the first value of my array. So we're going to create a variable my data, and we're going to set it equal to my array, and we want the first value, and again, array indexes start at 0. Oops, and I say start at 0, I put a 1 in, start at 0, and there we go. Not too shabby. We're blowing through this right now. I really feel pretty good about this. So my array should be 323, so we're going to say my array at 0 is equal to 3, and then we can do it again. My array at 1 is, actually we only need to change the 1 because the other one's 2 3, so we change this one, and now we're going to get 3 2 3. So all we did was we chose this index and we said, look, override it and set it equal to 3. My array should only contain John 23, and so how do we remove stuff? It's called the dot pop. Pop on an array will remove or get the very last value. It's not going to remove, it's going to get the very last item. So we're going to say removed from my array is equal to my array dot pop. And I believe that's correct. So there we go. So what we did was we popped this part off, and now we have cat and 2. Same. Good to go here. My array should now equal John 23 dog 3. So not only can you pop up data, you can also push data onto the end of the array. So what do we want to do? We want to say my array dot push, and my array should now equal, so my array dot pop. So what is my array? My array is equal to this, and we want to dot push John. Oh, so pushing, I think they just want us to dot. I may be mistaken, but I believe this is already working. Dog 3. Okay, so we want to add it to it. So we're going to say I see what's going on now. So we only have John 23, and we want to add dog and 3. So we want to dot push it on. So this is the opposite. We're actually going to be adding something. And here we want to add a string, that's dog, and we want to add a value of 3. And I believe we're going to need 2 of these. This is a, oops. So here we go. So we're putting in an array here of a dog and 3, and we're pushing it to the end of it. So wherever it's at, push it to the end. Alright, so now my array should now equal 23 and dog 3. My array is equal to, so how do we want to remove stuff? So we're going to say my array is equal to, or my array dot shift. So my array dot shift will remove the last, or the first value. So now that does that, and then we're going to set this equal to my array dot shift. There we go. So my array should now have Paul 23 and dog 3. So there's also an unshift. So we can say my array dot unshift. And in this case we want to add Paul. So unshift should move it to the front of the array. That's how. Shift removes the front away, unshift moves it to the front of the array. Alright, so now we're working with functions. You can see here that when we define our function, we have two variables, a, which is equal to an integer that's equal to 4, and b, an integer equal to 5. And then we just say we need to take any sort of input here and then return the value of it. So let's go ahead and get started. We want to change this so that now when we add it, it returns 9. So let's go ahead and just add that up. Alright, so make sure we call the function as well. So we'll say our function, and then we want to put in a, comma, b. So that returned 9. Your function should return the value of a plus b. So that should return 9. Return ff equals my function ab. So that returns the value. Maybe they wanted it within the bracket here. I don't know why. Oh, I don't think they want us to change that. So instead, what we'll do is we'll just say, oh, they actually wanted us to create our own function and not change our function. So we're going to create a function called myFunction. And it's going to take in an a or an a b like our function. They should just name this subtract and addition. It would have been much easier. In return, it's going to return the combined value of a plus b. And now when we run it, there we go. So that's what's going on there. Off the charts, they say. Alright. So, my dog should contain the property name and it should be a string. So my dog, we're going to take in name. This is the name property, and we're going to set it equal to, we'll set it equal to my mom's dog's name is Stella. And we'll put a comma, and oops, and it's not equals, it's a colon. I always forget that. So, you know, we can run it, make sure we're on the right track. Cool. So next it needs a legs. Stella currently has 3 legs, and hopefully it'll stay that way. And this is an integer, you can see here. And then tails. And these don't have to be strings, but they all are in this case, so tails. And we'll set that equal to 1. And then we also have friends, and that is a array. So we have a string, 2 ints, and now an array. And in our array, we'll say everyone. And you notice that there's no comma after that. And cool. So we've created our power level 9000. I like that. I'm watching Dragon Ball Super. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie, man. I am watching it all the time. Alright, so now we need to update this. So apparently something happened to my dog, and we want to change it. So we want to say my dog dot name is equal to, excuse me, equal to, and what do we want to name? Happy Coder. So what we're doing is we're saying select my dog, from there select the name parameter, set it equal to Happy Coder. Cool. Add the property bark to my dog. So how do we do that? So we now want to say, we want to select our dog again, my dog dot bark, and we're going to set it equal to bow dash wow. And so now when we call on my dog, it'll be able to bark. You see right here, bark wow wow. Bow wow. Alright, let's see. Out of curiosity where we're at. So we've been working at it about 20 minutes, but things are going really fast. So we're almost halfway. So we'll probably end up finishing this up in about about 45 minutes. So it wants us to delete the property from tails. So how do we do that? We say delete, and then we choose my dog, and we say dot tails, and that's how it does it. Very nice. Cool. So you should be using a for loop for this. My array should equal 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So what we're doing here is we're going to put 0. So they want us to iterate. They want us to do a for loop. So easy enough. So we're going to set a variable I equal to 0. What this is doing is this is where we're setting a variable to keep track of how many times we want to iterate through. And while that is less than 5, we want it to continue doing that, and it's going to increase by 1 every time. So in this case, we're actually going to put this below it. So we're going to iterate through. And in here, we're going to say my array, and then we're going to put I in here for that index value that we're currently on, which will start at 0. We want to then push the number I, meaning when we just want to put a 0, we're going to put a 0 to it. Oh, apparently we don't need to do it like that. That's actually Java syntax to do that. So again, just pay attention. We're doing JavaScript, not Java. I typically work with Java, so sometimes I'll make that mistake. It's more important just to know constructually, mentally how to do things than it is to know syntax. You can always look syntax up. So we're going to create another for loop. We'll say var I is equal to 0. In this case, what do we want to do? 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. Okay, so we'll say I is equal to 1. We'll start at 1. And while 1 is less than 9, let's see, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. Okay, so while I is less than 9, I is equal to I plus 2. So we're going to increase by 2 here. So what do we do here? We are going to, again, take my array, and we're going to say dot push, add it to wherever the array, we want to push our I through. So push, remember, push puts you at the end of the array. So it's going to go 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, and then I is equal to 9. It's not going to go anymore. Or it won't work at all. Let's see here. I is equal to 1. I. Oh, well, I is less than 9. So what happened there is 1 is always less than. So 1, 3, 5, 7. Oh, apparently this needs to be 10. So forget what I said. Less than an equal would have worked right there. So let's put it at 9 and do less than an equal. And there we go. Cool. Not too shabby. Not too shabby at all. Alright, so you should be using a for loop for this. Again, another for loop. We're going to create our count variable, and we're going to set it equal to, let's set it equal to 9. And we'll say while, oops, so while I is greater than 9, greater than 0, greater than or equal to 1. Let's see, we're going to deduct by 2. We'll just say greater than 0. I is equal to I minus 2. And then in here, what we want to do is we just want to myArray dot push our I value. So we're actually going backwards this time. So notice how this is greater than, and this is I is minus, and then bam. So it's going to go 9, 7, 5, 3, 1, stop. You can see our output right here. So here, Waypoint iterate with JavaScript. So another way we can do this is we can create a variable. So we're going to create a variable I, and we're going to set it equal to 0. It's going to feel kind of similar to what we've done, except we're going to use a while loop. And what this is saying is while I is less than 5, kind of like our for loop. It's the beginning, like the mid part of our for loop. We want to instantiate here myArray dot push, and we want to put our I value like we did before, except in here we're going to say I plus plus. Now what I plus plus is I plus plus is I is equal to I plus 1. So that's what I plus plus is here. This is just shorthand. Just a way to do things quicker. I personally like doing I is equal to I plus 1 because it tells you exactly what it is, and I think it's helpful. But anyone who does any coding will know what I plus plus is most of the time. So my number returned my function should be a decimal. So we want to return, so we're going to call on the math.random library. So math is the library, and we're calling on the random function. So this is something that isn't naturally incurred in JavaScript, and we're going to say, look, import this math library and use the dot random and generate a random number, so a random decimal. So here you see right here is our random decimal, and it changes again. Not too bad, not too bad. All right, so you should have multiplied the result of math.random by 10 to make sure it is between it. So the decimal is between 1.0 and 0.00 to a bazillion decimal places, as you can see here. So in this case, we're going to do math.random, and we want it between 1 and 10, or 0 and 9. So what we do is we multiply this by 10. Except they want us to do it in brackets like here. So there we go. I think they both work. Don't quote me on that, but they should both work. It's just this is how they prefer you do it. Alright, so we want to create a function called myFunction. So here's that. They have it set up for us. And we want to set, we want to say mymin is equal to math.random. Oops. And then we want to say myMax is equal to math.random Oh, look, they have actually some way they want us to do this. So it looks like our timer is about to go off. So I'm going to go ahead and pause that, and we'll finish this. I think we can finish this section up in another 15 minutes. So let's go ahead and see what this does. So math.floor, max is not defined. So we want to say, define two variables, my min and my max, send them both equal to numbers. Oh, so there we go. And we want to put that in there. Max is not defined. And this is actually how we want to do it. We want to say my max. And let's see my min. And let's see if this works. And if it min is not defined, plus my min. My function should use both my max and my min and return a random number in your range. The random number generated by my function should be greater than or equal to minimum my number. So, our function, I don't understand what the math.floor does. So this is gonna generate a random number. Actually, let's do it like this. So we can say we'll say var min is equals thanks for watching the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, that'd be great, and leave me a comment letting me know what you liked about the video and what you didn't like about the video. See you next time.